Oh man, my grandfather was a do everything the fucking hard way kind of person, and I used to get home. This would piss me off. I would get home off the bus from like middle school or elementary school, and I would walk home, and I would hate to see his car in the driveway because I knew he had some fuckery that he wanted me to do, and he was the kind of person that was like, oh shit, it's Friday, which means we have this afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday to get whatever we're doing done. And like I remember we had our house had it was like a ranch style home. On the left side it had a carport. And he had this great idea one time. He's like, let's close in that carport and turn it into an extra living room.
What the fuck?
And it was like a couple steps down into the carport, right? And so like it was Friday, dude. It was Friday, and I was walking home down the road, and I was like, yeah, it's Friday. And I was so stoked, and I turned the corner into my front yard, and there's a giant pile of dirt, 2 wheelbarrows with shovels in them sitting in the front yard, and he was sitting there. This is what he would do. Whenever labor started, he would sit there in a lawn chair and just direct you.
That's exactly how my grandpa was,
and
dude.
It didn't matter if it was the middle of fucking August at 2:00 in the afternoon, boiling hot. He would always be drinking black coffee. He was like,
oh my God.
And he would sit there with his black coffee with a sun hat, like Indiana Jones hat on.
Indiana Jones.
That's the lesbian version coming out soon. Yeah. And I would sit there and fill up that fucking carport, and we made the foundation and everything, filled it up, and then turned that place into a fucking living room, and it sucked. Like this motherfucker, he was the only person I've ever seen that he saw this house that was about to get demolished, and he was like, that's a pretty good looking house. And the people were like, hey, well, I forget what he said. They're like, oh, it's getting demolished next week. And he said, if I can get it removed, can I have it? And they were like, what do you mean removed? And he was like, I'll move it. And they're like, it's this big double-story plantation. Like, imagine the house from like the one Don Johnson had from Django Unchained, the guy that wears the all white suit. Like, it was a house like that, like a plantation style home.
It's like that fucking Left 4 Dead ending level where you're just in this massive plantation house.
And he fucking got this thing. I don't know like what kind of psychopath does this, but he somehow got it like up onto I-beams, and he paid to have all the power lines taken down on the road so they could drive this fucking house to a different location, and he put it on a lot, and it looks great there. You would never suspect that this thing had been on the back of like 3 18-wheelers cut into pieces.
Dude, that's what I always think when I'm driving down the road and I see someone fucking hauling a house. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Stop it. Well, you're like slowing me down.
Those are all like mobile homes designed for that. This was a home built in like 1890 that he cut like into sections and carried off. And like, but I've never seen someone like, I would a million times over just burn that house down, take a picture of it, and go, all right, let's build one that looks exactly like that on this lot.
Why would you? It seems like so like
much
counterproductive.
Work.
Yeah, to try and fucking haul this thing. Like, it seems like it would be so much more money, time, and effort than just building a house on the lot that you have. That's so bizarre.
I don't know, man. He was a weird guy, but he did it, and it was I know exactly what you mean though, being like you're the bitch slave boys to the family.
And my grandpa, I would do everything. Like, it's not even that. Like, we'd go to the drive-thru and he would make me order. Like, I would have to fucking like unbuckle and stand up and lean over.
Squire.
Yeah, no, I'm not even fucking kidding, dude. It was like that everywhere. Like he would be like, I would be standing up, in the back seat, like leaning forward over him, and I'd be like, a number one with cheese, and they're like, mustard and mayonnaise, and I'm like, mustard and mayonnaise, and he's like, mustard, and I would go, mustard with a large fry, a side of onion rings. Like, he would always order like 8 things, and because he wouldn't fucking prepare meals, he would just order food for the next week, like from drive-thrus. So I'm up there fucking ordering his week's food, and
the whisper.
Dude, he would. I'm telling you, and
mustard.
and so they're like, anything else with that? And then by that time he had made up his mind that he wanted a couple more things, and he's like, onion rings. And I would, an order of onion rings, large, and But okay, so apply that to everything. So it would be like we'd have to go to the hardware store, and he'd send little 8-year-old me. He'd be like, I need two I-beams that are 2x4 or whatever, and give me some bolts, like 30 bolts that are blah blah blah. And I'd have to go in there with this little shitty list. Like every aspect of everything was just me doing it for him. It was weird.
I want to make McFlurry. M&M's.
Oh my god, dude! I'm trying to think of anything else that he would do that's just
Gramps,
funny.
they said the McFlurry machine's broken.
And he's like,
piece of shit.
This ain't gonna work. he's like feeding me lines to gripe him out. I'll tell him I'll have your job if you don't. I'm just a little 8-year-old talking shit.
Some 10-year-old doing corporate threats.
Yeah. Oh my god. Man.